Hi Notary Socials! In this video, I want to talk to you about some things that might cause you to lose your notary commission. Have you ever been asked to do things that are illegal that you know that you shouldn't be doing or improper to do? Say what? Yeah, so in this video, I'm going to be covering some things that could cause you to lose your notary commission, especially while doing remote online notarizations. Lack of knowledge is no excuse. Here are some key points to keep in mind. Number one, don't get yourself in all sorts of trouble by trying to appease the different platforms that you work for, title companies or your clients. Number two, know your state laws. I'm asked all the time to do things that are not legal, and of course, I don't do them. Number three, use the proper digital certificate and notify your Secretary of State when required. Here's a prime example. A notary platform, and I won't name names, is touting that it now has a free service for notaries and they are recruiting for on-demand as well. I spent about 5 hours trying to get set up with this platform. It took that long because, well, let's just say they're not really ready for prime time. Good luck trying to get set up with them. They had so many tech issues and they weren't exactly user-friendly. This coming from an online notary that has performed over thousands of notarizations. Moi. This platform provides the digital certificate, so you can't use your own. So if you've purchased an ident trust and you've provided that to your Secretary of State, you can't use that one. Did you know that in Texas, you have to update your digital certificate every single time you switch platforms and use a different digital certificate? Well, the platforms certainly don't tell you. So after signing up, I email customer support and I say, hey, I need to update my SOS with a new digital certificate, and your platform hasn't given me one. They don't know what I'm talking about. After going back and forth, I provide them a letter from the Texas Secretary of State that shows that it has to be signed with the notary's new digital certificate. They then set up an online session and we get it signed. If you want a copy of the letter from the Texas Secretary of State that they require to be digitally signed and compliant, just comment below and I'll send it to you. If I hadn't brought that up to them and I didn't know better and then I went out and used their platform, guess who's in trouble? Not the platform, but me. You can lose your commission over this, so be very careful. Number four, it is very helpful if you can find a RON platform that has actual support where you can speak to a human being planted in the USA and not someone in a foreign country that doesn't know our laws. Most platforms will only correspond via email, so keep that in mind when you're picking a platform. Number five, do not rely on these platforms to use proper procedures to identify your clients. Believe it or not, some platforms allow a client to upload a copy of their ID and not the actual ID. So you need to be asking every single time to see the ID and have them move it back and forth to see if there are any holograms to make sure for yourself that it is real. If they cannot produce the real ID or they just flash up their iPhone, then you should not proceed with your notarization. If you do and get caught, watch out. There are plenty of notaries that have lost their commission over this because they did not properly identify the signer. Number six, platforms may ask you to perform transactions that are not legal in your state or in the United States. Now, this is very important. There are some platforms out there that are advertising that they do I-9 verifications online, and they are getting these people coming onto the platform to get their I-9s verified by an online notary. Now, in Texas, when you're performing an I-9 verification, it is not a notarial act. You can do an I-9 verification as an employer's representative. However, you must see the employee and their IDs in person. It is not allowed online. Please check with your own state to see if you're allowed to do I-9s, period. And I'm talking about I-9s in person because we know you can't do it online. So some states will not allow notaries to do it at all. The only way around this, quote, in-person requirement is a little loophole, and that is if the employee is working remotely strictly because of what happened in 2019, and you all know what I'm talking about. Not because it's convenient or a lack of knowing the law. law. That particular allowance is going away and it's set to expire soon. And at this point, it is a very rare circumstance, and I would want that in writing. Now, you need to know that, let's say you're working on a platform and you're working on demand and an I-9 verification pops up. You need to know that you cannot perform that I-9 or that verification online. I am simply amazed at how many platforms and companies are pushing this and not following the rules. Again, who will get in trouble? You got it. It'll be you. So for I-9s, don't get this confused with the ability to enter the information online. After you have met a client in person and not virtually and have confirmed the IDs, then you can enter the information online and sign online. But you cannot meet them online and yet never meet in person. Otherwise, why wouldn't the employer just do it themselves? All right. Number 7, not knowing the law is not an excuse. Just because a company says they are a RON platform, it's up to you to really check things out. Even the largest ones out there are not following all of the rules. Don't lose your commission, and not knowing the law is not an excuse. Sometimes it's an actual crime when you perform a notarization and don't follow your Secretary of State's guideline. It could be a misdemeanor up to a felony with jail time. It's just not worth it, y'all. You have to know in Texas that every single online notarized certificate must contain the words, "This notarial act was an online notarization," at the very least. If it's not, it's not valid. Go look at your Secretary of State's guidelines on this for clarification. Now, almost all platforms will gladly sign you up, but again, it's up to you to know your state laws. Number 9, the notary platforms are not looking out for your best interest, and it's up to you to make sure that you are following your notarial laws. No amount of generic RON training on their platform will help you with notarial law and what the Secretary of State requires. In addition to understanding how to notarize just even in person, there are separate guidelines for RON, so make sure you're following those. So please, if you found this information helpful and valuable, like the video and subscribe so we can help our notary community do things properly and stay out of trouble. Finally, if you're an online notary and want to set yourself apart as a member of an elite group of online notaries that are professional and take the business seriously, then go to the ronnotarydirectory.com and get set up today. Shh! If you stuck to the end, comment for a discount just for you. This is Margie with Notary Socials. Until next time.